Wonderful.
Good morning and good afternoon for those of you who are in the East Coast, and good evening for those of you who are in Europe. And it's so wonderful to have you with us again, Mina, and the last time we were together. So let me just introduce you. This is Mina Martinez, Chief Etiquette Officer and founder of Prestige Protocol, an organization that is geared to helping us look our best when we show up for an interview, when we show up for dinner with the president of a company, when we show up for events. And today we're showing up to online forums. So we have 9 ways. So Mina has developed 9 ways for us to look our best online when we show up to meetings online. And this is our second version, or our second chapter of this continuum that we're going to continue to do with Mina, because what Mina does is very important to all of us. How we show up in public is very important. When we show up to a meeting, a one-on-one meeting, is really critical, because half of it is how we look, our preparation, what we did before getting there, and then making sure that everything is smooth in the middle of the meeting. And online, Mina, it presents a totally different challenge, because when you are online, you get a front row seat. Everybody gets a front row seat. Mina, I attended birthday party for someone in Los Angeles, and there were 50 people, and all 50 people had a front row seat. That never happens in any meeting. You can hide a little bit in other meetings. Here you can't. So walk us through the actual preparation and the planning piece, if you just highlight that for us, and then we'll get right into the actual participation part.
Oh, great. Will do. And I'm very happy to join you today. Thank you. So just in summary, what we did last week, we talked about the importance of the preparation, the planning, and participation, of which we're going to cover that part. And it comes in series because there's so much involved. And the very first thing you want to always remember is your business attire. Be business appropriate, because you just never know who is watching you, who can be there. Opportunities have come up that you just, you might have an employer. You might have someone who's a follower and looking for some. You just never know. So you have to be always on your best. And that's always true, including little emergencies that might come up and you have to step away. So that's important that you have that. So that behavior is going to, reflect back to your audience. And you said front row seat. And that is so true, because you're the front row seat regardless. So don't make that front row seat from your couch if you can avoid it in a business meeting. We are talking business attire here. I know you mentioned birthday party. So I was in one and it was 45 people. And then people just kept coming in until there were 62. So and the windows get smaller, or they go off the display and you have like 2 or 3 pages. And if you're familiar with this kind of setup, then you have to start pointing at that little arrow. And then, you could get confusing. So you don't want to lose that front row, seat and be there. And so the host will mute you. If you are going to participate and they want everybody, then it's all hats off, because, it could be crazy if everybody starts talking or sneezing. You can hear everything. So it starts with the host there. And then secondly, what you want to do is always remember to take care of grooming yourself. Hopefully, and I recommend it an hour before, because things happen in between. A lot have happened. So if you're ready to go and you have that last minute something, at least know that you're ready, hopefully as presentable as you can be. And don't come half dressed. But by that, I mean, come fully dressed. Make sure you do that, because the example that I showed last time.
Yes.
The person was, he aced his interview. It was a virtual interview. He had a perfect tie, the suit, and he, wow, it was like, wow, perfect model. And then he was asked at the very last question, "May you please stand?" And he looked around thinking, they're not asking me to stand, like you could hear him. And then he stood up. So an opportunity that went lost, because he was in his boxers. When do you do that? So people be a little more cautious of, you know, you never know who's going to ask you what.
You know, it's funny because, and I think I shared this with the audience last week. I get up in the morning, I make my bed, I, I do my morning routine. I take a shower, put my makeup on, and get fully dressed. And then I come online because there's something that happens mentally when you are fully ready to go that is different than when you're not. It's almost like you're faking it. You can't fake behavior. You can't fake confidence. And the confidence you feel when you're all made up, when you're all ready to go, is so different than trying to make it up. And people can see that.
Absolutely.
On camera, you can see more than you think you can.
Absolutely. And we talked about stress too, because if you're coming in from something previous and there's no time to even get a fresh grooming like we need to have,
Yes.
when that happens, be prepared for those kind of things. You know, even though you can't see all behind you, or it shouldn't be, because we talked about, you know, having a background and what is important about having that. If you need to have something next to you that's going to comfort you in some way, whether it's, you know, a glass of water or something, that's up to you, depending, because we don't want you to get choked up in between all this, because if you have to start coughing in something, that could be disruptive, because the people can see your body language. They can sense that. And so then that would be the time for you to, goodbye, I need to put my little picture in there, and then you could come back. But through the sides, you know, we talked about all of that. But one of the most important things that I'm going to start with the fact that it's always important to know by the host, you know, if they lay the precedence and say that, you know, sure, you know, bring your lunch, which is going to be a lunch meeting or whatever. I mean, there's different things that are going to happen, but let's assume that that's not going to happen. You know, it's not going to go that route. You're going to come just with yourself and ears and just participate 100% and come ready, right? Your host needs to let you know, is it going to be a panel setup? Your agenda will say that, because usually that's going to come out in an email. You're going to have something that's going to display what you're being invited to and why you're participating. Whether it's a workshop, more like a webinar type thing where you don't see people. But when it's a Zoom situation, which is where I think we're focused on, is where you're going to be actually seen, right? I know it's different in Facebook because you're not going to be seeing the speaker. So the point that I have there is find out if it's going to be a panel involving panelists, 1 to 4 or 5. Are you sharing? Which means it's only going to be a share, or is it a Q&A? Those are things that you prepare for in the planning, but be ready to participate, however way those things are going to come your way.
Yes.
All right, so today, as you know, we move into this direction of virtual business meetings. Our communication skills have been modified during these times.
Yes.
So because of that, we need to make sure that we recognize what it means to have that power of our simple eyesight. Remember we said about contact?
Yes, the eye contact.
That's communication, that's body language, that's participation. So we covered 3 points. We're just right there. Yes. By knowing that, right?
And Mina, a question that was asked last time, because I do want to bring this up in the middle of the participation part of your presentation. It's so important when we are here, and I'm with you 100%. Now, people said, do I look at the little point or do I look at the person? People know that if you're looking a little bit down, that you're looking at the actual face of the person. If you can actually look at the camera, then that's better, because you're really talking to that person. And so it takes a while to get used to looking at the camera rather than looking at the person themselves. But I see people do this all the time, and they think that you can't see them, but they move over the screen to their inbox and they start scrolling through the inbox when they should be paying attention to the speaker. Your eyes, you can see that. And people can see if you move your eyes away, if your face, and sometimes people think that they're really clever, and they move only their eyes but not their head. But it's like a mirror. It's like you're pointing a mirror to yourself, and whatever it is you're doing, even if you are looking at the screen and you're looking at emails but you're not paying attention to the person, that can be seen also. So it's almost like you're pretty much naked in front of people, right?
Right, right. So your every move is going to make a difference. It really is. So the
Yes.
best thing to do, rather than to move around and do all that because it's distracting, again, depending on what your purpose is and why you're participating. But that takes me to the step, because just for clarity, I want to make sure that people understand that when you're looking at your phone, okay, let's say you have it to the side and you have it faced up. There's a reason why you have it faced up. It's your
Yes.
curiosity. It's like,
Yes.
okay, you're doing this. Who's not going to see that? And then
Yes.
to your point about looking at the camera, I find it difficult to look into that little green. I'm looking at that little green thing right now. Where do you see me looking? I'm looking at the camera.
You're looking at me.
See? Oh, I'm looking at
Yes.
you. Now to me, I'm looking
When
at
you're
you.
looking up, so where am I looking right now? When you see me looking right now,
This is
where
your
am I
eyes looking up.
You're
You are
looking up
looking.
because
You're not
I'm
looking
not.
at me. You're not looking
Oh,
at
I'm
me.
not looking at you. So
Correct.
if I want to look at you, where do I need to? Am I looking at you now?
Yes, you are. So what are you doing?
I'm
So
looking at you. I'm
okay.
looking at your picture.
You just answered the main question. Everybody needs to
Okay,
understand.
everybody. Here it is, the $1 million question. You do not look at the green dot unless you are doing a Facebook Live. And you are the only person in the that is speaking and making a presentation, then you look at the green dot. If you don't, if you have somebody, if you have a guest, you look at that guest. If there's only one, if there's others, you can look around, but it's obvious that you're looking at that person.
Yes.
Wow,
So,
there's that question answered.
well, now you understand why the different platforms have different the camera levels and what have you. So I don't know if people are just taking what they're used to doing with Facebook, if they take their little phone and go lie down in bed and they're watching something else because they need to rest their feet. But you can see all that. Believe it or not, that camera lens is something incredible. So be careful. And right now for Zoom, I am looking at you, Betty, directly to you. I'm not looking at that camera because when I'm on other Zooms, I see everybody looking at that. It looks like they're reading something somewhere else. And then if you're not looking at the okay, let's talk about gallery. Gallery means you have the photo of the participant.
Yes.
Right now it's just you and I, so we're side by side.
Yes.
The more that come in, the smaller we get.
Yes.
So look, and so to convey the right message is look underneath that camera, like in the middle, and you can't lose. Just look in the middle, whoever that person is in the middle, because if I start looking over there to the side, and then there's another one over there, my eyes go there. See, I'm not paying attention. So be courteous. So here's what we mean. So then I'm glad you brought that up and got that clarified. But on the phone, please turn it upside down because it's very disrupting. Have it muted by all means, okay?
Yes.
And then if you have it buzzing and you're not muted, you're gonna hear that buzz go off.
Yes.
And it's gonna disrupt the communication on the Zoom. Host is gonna say, you don't have to say anything, just mute them. And just mute them completely because they have no clue that their cat over there is having a fun time just scratching something. And to them, it's natural because that's their environment that they're in, but they don't realize that they're disrupting the people on a,
Yes.
In other words, you're doing like multitasking. Have you seen
Yes.
people do that? They're okay. If you are in a meeting where you have to take notes, the host will say, we understand if you'd like to take some notes, because what you're doing is you're taking your face completely off of your display and you're looking straight down. So are you looking at messages or are you writing notes?
Yes. And it's different when you're like, I'm interviewing you right now and I'm taking notes on the things that you're saying so that I can have follow-up questions. And in people, for example, if you're leading a meeting and you and I are in a meeting every morning at 6:45. And so I will always say, okay, this is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. For those of you who just joined us, it's really important to do that. And so that the other person, so we're looking at it from the host perspective and then from the participant perspective, you're letting them know exactly what is happening because they can't see you. Right. So you're taking that person outside of that blind spot so that they feel that they're in the room with you.
Yes.
And that is so important to do that so they feel the comfort. They don't have to wonder, okay, where's she looking? What is she doing? Or whatever, right?
Exactly what you just did now is distracting because you're moving and you're looking around. That's what I was saying. When you come, feel comfortable because you're going to see your arm reach. You're going to see your shoulders shrugging if you're doing this, or you're stretching because you just feel like you need to stretch. You don't do that during a meeting. Do that off hours if you can. Just remember, come as your best, because you're connecting virtually, and you have to remember to be respectful. And people, not everyone knows how to participate this way. This is why we're having this. And I just think it's a really important conversation to have, even if it's just going to be learning it this way, because by participating, you're practicing. That is really, really important. And then you're going to have, let's say you have educators on this, session. What are they going to convey virtually to their students? Because they're going to hear, okay, here we have some, you want to say I'm a little techie on this, but I'm not a Zoomer in no way, in shape or form. No way. However, I've had Zoomitis, and I continue having it because, Dr. Betty, I don't know how you do it, but you have a 24-hour global agenda. And I've worked with executives that I've had to manage up to 8 calendars. Do you realize the stress that there is just in calendaring? Yes. So people that know an aerospace environment, you are moving. Now that we have this virtual thing, but before it was huge to be, oh my God, we're with the UK, we're in Spain. It was huge. Yeah. Now people are not taking it that seriously here, and they're just doing unprofessional things. So where I want to go with this is just make sure that I leave something with you that we are modifying our way of communicating. And not only is that, but remember your attire. And one other thing too is being always 100% present means that you're not going to bring food in. We talked about that. Be relaxed and confident. That is one of the things you want to do, because eventually you will become or have what I call Zoomitis. In Spanish, Zoomitis. Oh, I say that because I get up and then, oh my goodness, I've been sitting for maybe 2 hours. Or there's another one that's 45 minutes, but you're hopping because you're going to, just as fast as we had to hop on from something else to ours. You didn't have time to get up. So here goes another half hour or hour could be uncomfortable. So remember to recognize that you're going to be, what is your timing? On a personal level, when I talked about calendaring, make sure, if you can, give yourself some space in between to break yourself. Yes. You're the one moving your own calendar. Let them know you need breathing space, right? And if they're going to have the meeting, you just end up saying, I'm sorry, okay, I'll be able to join you 30 minutes after it starts. You tell them that. And then if not, they're going to say, let's say you go to the meeting, it started, you haven't said anything in any way, shape, or form. You didn't indicate, not even through a text or something. They're going to say, or maybe they're waiting on you and you don't know that, and they want to introduce people, or maybe it's something that you're going to be recognized for. It depends, because there's so many different reasons why you're having the participation that you are. The reason I'm trying to do this is I'm trying to convey that in every occasion that we have, you're communicating something very different just by you being there. Okay, give yourself a break, at least an hour in between your Zoom events, your webinars. It's not happening like that. Why? Because Monday through Friday, the popular times are 10, 11, 12 to 1 for those lunch and learns. Then you have the 1 o'clock that goes till 3. Oh, but I have to have that 4 o'clock and it goes till 6. What did you just do right there? Did you give yourself a break in between? Actively listen matters. It matters. And let's say you need to be a little more dressed for the next thing that you have. Have that little jacket next to you. Just grab it and put it on you in between if you can't get up to do whatever you need to do. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Come as prepared as you can. Make your little, your little comfort zone a little more to have less of a stress impact on yourself, because you can see it. People, it's like black and white. You can see it. You can see it. So be very careful with those visual cues. It's very important. Yeah. Don't drag yourself out anymore. We're already into the 9th week of this, hunkering down and everything. So I'm hunkered down, all right. But it brought me more work, in a different way, not in the business related thing.
The other thing, and this is something I do just to stay fresh, because people ask, how do you stay fresh all day? You start your day at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, whatever time. And I tell people I sleep when I'm tired. Mm-hmm. When do you go to sleep? People ask me. And I say, I go to sleep when I'm tired. And I do have a break in the middle of my day, so that if I'm really tired and I owe the people that I'm spending time with to be fresh with them, then I go take a 15-minute nap. Now, my body can take a 15-minute nap or a 30-minute nap and be completely fresh. Some people can't. But
Exactly.
if you have really long days, and Zoom affords you the opportunity to have really long days if you wanted to, then have a morning session and have a middle of the day break time where you can digest your information, take your notes, make your appointments, do your follow-up, and then have that. When I was in school, I would schedule 2 classes and then a 2-hour break to study and to get my homework done, and then 2 classes and a 2-hour break, and then 2 classes. It's almost like that, like we have to pace ourselves to be able to do this and stay fresh, because you're in the front row 100% of the day.
Exactly. And we talked about this at the session, part 1, about being prepared, because being prepared is about etiquette.
Yes.
Participating is etiquette and everything. And you could talk about, and then there's protocols, which are different things. You know, those are guidelines that you're given, where etiquette is the side that you bring in that's respectful, and that you're going to know that everyone's going to be watching you, understanding you in a different way. Multitasking is multi-rude. That's what it equals when you're on a visual like this. Okay, if you're multitasking and you think that they can't see, then you're going to go ahead and put yourself in a little picture or some kind of landscape, and you're going to disappear.
Yes.
This is what I mean about participating in overdoing it, because you could really drown yourself. It's not healthy. Okay, if you are on a liquid diet type of thing where you can drink it and not have to chew, great. But not everybody does that. They need their time away from all of this to do what they got to do. And then what if something comes up that you can't be at that next, give yourself that time, and remember to smile every time, because there's nothing more rude than when your host has something going on. As monotonous as it could sound or be, you want to be attentive, and it keeps you awake as well, and it'll wake up others. They're going to wonder, well, why is she smiling? I'm listening to her message. It requires something to say, I got you. Yeah, you're right. I don't do all this because that's distracting for the person who's speaking. But in all shape or form, just remember that. Be courteous for that. And a smile goes a long way. Just smile it from ear to ear. If that's all you have to do, so you know that you are actively participating. That's one of the things I was going to say we need to talk about. And know when not to speak. We might have some interruptions right now because we're here at home. There's children involved. There's, you're in a room completely separate. The reason I say children is because, like right now, this time of day, there's class going on. There's school. My grandkids are in e-learning. So I know when not to call and see how my daughter's doing, because I know she's got her schedule till 5. So if there's anything that comes in that's important, that's why that phone, keep it upside down. Don't let it distract you, because you don't want to multitask. It's multi-rude. That's my main message for today, really.
Multitasking is multi-rude. Mina, one more thing in terms of attending a meeting with a purpose. I'm going to share something only because I think it's going to be really important for people to understand. When you're attending someone else's meeting, you're attending their meeting. You're not making their meeting your agenda. So come into their meeting with understanding what the whole vision and purpose of that particular meeting is. I was asked for someone to join one of my Zoom calls, and I asked this individual, well, have you been seeing these on social media? No, but I really want to attend your Zoom call. And then I thought, okay, so what is the purpose then? If they haven't even seen it, do they even know why? They never asked, tell me about your meeting. How do you do the meeting? What's the purpose, and what are you bringing out into the public? And so that they could align themselves, they just wanted to be seen. And so it's going to be really important. You have opportunities to be seen in different areas. When you call, when you try to get into a meeting or a private meeting, understand that there is an alignment. between what your purpose is and what the purpose of the people or the groups that are actually putting it together. And don't make that your agenda, but come in and graciously. We have this daily meeting that is so wonderful, and we've gotten to know each other. Everybody's purpose is the same.
Exactly.
And so it's so important to have that alignment. Likewise, when you invite people, make sure that they're aligned. Otherwise, it's not going to be as smooth.
Absolutely right. And you know, it's interesting that that point that you've made is one of the things that you know, I kind of discuss it in different ways because I talk to different generations. And so we have the millennials that have their agenda. We have the executives and E-suites, okay? Talk about, you're the perfect role model, if you allow me to say this. You have very robust agendas. And why do I say robust? Because you're dealing globally on some issues that are probably, how can I say, I could say private, but more than anything, not top secret, but you know where I'm going, right? It's confidential and classified. Those are the words we use, which cannot be taken lightly because, you know, there's certain information and certain participants that can come in. So for the purpose of knowing what your agenda is, it's so important to have one how can I say, shared if you can ahead of time. So people know, okay, am I coming to a ministry? There's a board of directors of ministers. You know, I have a cousin who's a pastor, and he leads a very robust, but yet very calm church service, which now has gone online. Next week, it's going to be in person. I mean, all this stuff is changing. Do you see what I mean by robust? And people are coming because they know why they're participating. Okay. And he lays out the, you know, be confident, be kicked back, bring your coffee. He says this from the very beginning. So people know that they're going to be followers or whatever. That's what I mean about speaking up when he speaks up. Another one could be, it could be, let's say, a high level proficiency meeting, which you handle a lot of that. Perhaps it's recognition. There's going to be the Women Global event that's now not going to be in person in London like we did last year. Go figure. It's going to be virtual, and we're all going to participate even more so because we're not having to fly over there. This is like for July, right? Or next month. So that takes me to global networking clubs. We both support, and I'm sure many listeners on here or viewers know what I'm talking about when it comes to virtual participation. Again, be your best and do that because you got somebody who's going to say, I like that topic. I'd like to invite her to come speak. And Dr. Betty, you're well known. I mean, you know, you capture so much that's involved. Or maybe it's the first time for someone to learn Zoom and they're on there for the first time and they are shaking, but you don't see it. But they went the confident level. They went 1 mile forward and said, I'm going to be this because everyone's doing it. Well, eventually you're going to be asked to do that, whether it's a birthday party, whether it's a concert, you know, and I could go on because right now there's so many cooking shows. Those are the most popular ones right now, you know, not only Facebook, but on television. But my point to this is that we've learned a lot of new skills and we're getting to do that. Please be mindful of your virtual appearance. We now have a virtual appearance, people. Okay. And when it comes to, you know, being ready, and this is going to pertain a little bit to those that like to enhance their look a little bit, like putting on some makeup. If I put it on at 5 o'clock in the morning to be ready for that 6 a.m., you know, prayer group, the lighting is so much darker. I mean, the sun hasn't even come up in some cases, right? So then you don't want to look like a clown or you don't want to look like a ghost. That's what I say about being ready an hour before you're going to be on a virtual network or display. So properly being exposed, your face means a lot, your attire means a lot, your presence and listening. You know, please remember that. Come with confidence to whatever it is you're coming with. And then after you could go, whoa, my God, this is crazy. This was only 1 hour. And they, I don't know, everybody has a different participation, but those of us that are already Zoomers, you'll know what to do. You better come ready. Take care of yourself. If you're going to be tied up for 2 hours, you know what to do in advance.
Let me go to Facebook really quickly and see if there are any other questions. So Dorothy and Sophia, Maria, we have Monica. We have a lot of people from all over watching you, Mina. This
Oh,
is
well, thank you for joining us out there.
yes. Thank you so much for joining. And okay, I dress even when I'm not doing a call or interview. So dressing for success is really important. I always write notes since I value what you are saying. So that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Great job, ladies. Great information. I lost 6 pounds the first month home because I didn't give myself a break between meetings and I didn't eat.
There you go.
Monica, you're right.
To our point last week, remember?
Yes, it's exactly what we talked about. Great information. Multitasking is multi-root, so that stayed with Maria. Interested in learning all I can about doing virtual events. I just opened Facebook and there you are talking about the topic. I want to do a virtual retreat in October. So virtual retreat by Dorothy, so pay attention. Going to a meeting or an event or a gathering with the opportunity to give, learn, and share, to be open. Give value to all you do. And I love this, Maria. Give value to all you do. One of the things I do when I'm going to a meeting, and I attended a meeting, I think it was yesterday, incredible lineup of speakers. In the notes pages, I write down the highlights of what they're saying, and I say, I love this. Thank you so much. Can you expand on this? Because when you have an opportunity to interject, if you know something's going to underline something that a speaker's saying and is going to help them get their word out, add value as much as you can. Lighting and sound quality is important. What about standing up while you speak to project your voice and be dynamic? Sophia wants to know, what are your thoughts about standing up?
Okay. I will recall when we had the first session and I said about the 1.5 to 2 feet distance from your virtual screen that you are looking for. Do not back up. If your setup is at a podium, that's a whole different setup. I'm talking home right now. We are talking home. If you're going to have a little more elaborate production, then you have to, that we talked about that in the planning. Remember, this is participation. So one thing, leads to the other. It's so just important because it falls in this way. You have to prepare, you have to plan, and you have to participate. If you got those 3 Ps, just remember, these particular points that we're talking about. There's nothing more important, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Mina, thank you so much. So today we got a lot from this, and this is virtual business skills, virtual meeting skills, and it's how do you show up, and how do you show up at your very best when you're when you're either hosting a virtual meeting or when you're attending a virtual meeting. So you talked about no food. I learned not to bring my coffee or my water. I don't have it around me. And if I have it away so that during a break I go and I don't have to take a sip. If I absolutely would have to take a sip, then I would set a table next to me where it couldn't be seen, and then I would reach over and maybe even put my picture so that people wouldn't see me eating or drinking, and then do that. What do you think about that though? Putting the picture up anytime during the meeting, you think that's rude?
It is. The only thing is if there's an opportunity for you to say, this is the participation part, when you know your host, please communicate ahead of time if there's something that's going to distract you from not being there 100%.
Yes.
It could be the smallest thing. You don't have to go into detail, but one of the things you don't want to say is, excuse me, I need to use the restroom. We do not say that word on virtual, okay?
Yes.
Not on Zoom. I don't know how it is with the others because there's so many other different ones right now. There's Google Meet. There's, oh God, help me with them. I mean, there's so many conferencing.
WebEx.
Different conferencing platforms.
Yes.
Yeah, the WebEx you don't see though, unless you're the presenter, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yes. So
Actually, you do on WebEx. You can see. I just attended a board meeting, and we do have the WebEx master that works for WebEx on the board. So they're able to do all kinds of things, but we can see everybody else and the WebEx. It's interesting.
The host could see it, yes, but not everybody else could see everybody else.
Yeah, I can see everybody else.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that I understand. Okay, got it, got it.
Yeah.
So again, being disrespectful. If you think you're not going to be watching, you're not going to be watched. Your
Yes.
host is watching you, so that's a distraction for the host. And
And
keeping
so
that in.
are other people seeing you.
That is correct.
And
But
they're paying attention, especially if you're someone of prominence.
sure.
You want to understand. And even if you're not, I was talking to one of my mentees, Sophia, and she attended a virtual meeting. And at the end of the meeting, it was amazing because she came in as a guest thinking that she was a participant at an entry level. And at the end, she participated and added so much value. They asked her to join, and she became one of the leaders.
He's there. That is so important what you just said, because value it's appropriate in different occasions, in different
Yes.
scenarios. That word value carries a lot of value, but in different stages. You're talking to the like a prayer group meeting, and you're having sessions that are dependent on prayer and things of that nature. So you have a whole different dynamic. You have a whole different robust type of agenda. And who are you listening to? Your pastors or whoever it is that's on there, correct?
Yeah.
Now, if they raise their hand and says, please join us in giving us your comments in the little chat box, that means active participation.
Yes.
We're still in participation here. So I do
Yeah.
want to make sure that you know, the way you can participate is if your host tells you it's okay to write your notes. Notes are wonderful. Please join us with a chat and give us your notes, because one thing that's very distracting, like for myself, if I were to receive that and I have nobody here to read that, I need to pay attention to who my audience is
Yes.
and to be reading. So if you got that knack and then you're able to do that like you do, Dr. Betty, you say something ahead of time. Let me turn it over and let me read Facebook now or something. But see, you got a confidence level in you. You
Yes.
can do that. A lot of people cannot multitask in that way.
I think we need to do another one. Dorothy's asking, I do put up my photo up if I know there will be a problem in the background. The kids coming in or my husband talks to me. Dr. Betty, do you have more videos on this subject? I think we need to do another one, Mina. And
Sure.
I think we need to address those situations. And I've been thinking about bringing in a group of people together to have different dialogues about different topics that are coming up now that are going to help us get through COVID to the outside of COVID and help us go. And I think I'm going to bring you in on these conversations. So it's going to be really important for us to really understand there's so many different dynamics, and we can break it up into smaller chunks and go deeper into each of the chunks, just so everybody knows. And those of you who are joining us on Facebook, our intent is to give you a little taste of Mina Martinez and the incredible gift that she is. Mina has revamped her business, and it's all about etiquette. It's all about protocol. It's all about understanding how you can bring your very best to any meeting, any interview, any lunch, any dinner. We're going to figure out how to bring all of this to all of you. It's so important that when we show up, especially online, we have a front row seat. Both the guests have a front row seat, as well as the host or the hostess. We all have a front row seat. And I've seen so many people that just slouch back on their bed. And so what is your image? And I always talk about your brand. What is your brand going to be? So Mina Martinez helps us with making sure that our brand is at optimum, that when we speak with clarity, with confidence. Somebody was asking about the background and the virtual background. Take a look at a week ago today.
Correct.
We talked about the virtual background, so go back there and we talked about it. And we'll continue to go through. We'll do one more next week, and we'll go a little bit deeper into each one of these topics. If you have any questions for Mina, please put them on the Facebook interview right here, the one that I've been reading, and more people have come in. It's hard to have your screen on while you have the littles around. Yes, so we'll talk about that. And absolutely, we will be talking about how to handle interruptions, things that are out of your control while you are dialing up. And then we'll continue to talk about the difference between etiquette and protocol.
Mm-hmm.
How do you prepare and set yourself up to when, in case there is an interruption, in case you're going from back to back, if you know you're going to from back to back. I wore this dress this morning for the Bible study, and then I had this jacket handy, and I said, you know what, let me just have the jacket so that I can match you. So how do you pay very close attention to everything? How you look, your hair, your nails, the notes that you're taking, what you use. Do you use a notebook? How do you flip the pages so that the pages don't make a lot of noise? And how do you flip them in a way that it's gracious and nobody can see that you're flipping the page? How do you hold the pen so that people know I am taking notes? So you make it obvious that people are taking notes. There's so many different things that go into putting together a successful Zoom meeting or a Zoom call or a Zoom presentation. So those are 3 different things that we'll be going into. Yes. Mina, any last words for everyone?
Well, yes, a couple. Thank you for allowing me to do so. So to have your facial representation, if you will, it's always from the middle of your chest up, okay?
Yes.
Not a full body. Don't sit back on your couch and then put the TV up here, because, or the whatever you're monitoring, whether it's your cell phone or it's your, what is it? There's another little camera now, or your laptop.
Yes.
If you could see us, this is how it should be, okay? This is because the sound is right and so forth. So you got one major thing already taking that confidence in you. But keep in mind that what we do is we provide Prestige Protocol is very much into sharing awareness. The things that I learned in the aerospace company, that with the various industries that globally we had to deal with, there's so much. And I'm this particular topic, because we're having to deal with it just like overnight, we have to jump over. You had parents that are, automatically starting to learn how to do e-learning. They had to go get laptops if they didn't have them already. And all those, they were just scrambling. Now things are a little more settled, but you know what? It took that time to do that. Yeah. Where I want to make it comfortable for everyone to kind of basically know the professional setting, which is mainly the reasons why I do what I do. But my audiences vary, it's all ages. So there's different type of communications that I have to do. But what's important is to set you apart from lost opportunities. Make sure that you participate and be there, even though I'm not good at Zoom. What do I do? You could Google everything you want, but at least do it so that you can have a presence. And we'll help you with this. This is why Dr. Betty gives me a platform to be able to share this, because she's been at my particular seminars or a conference or a dinner, the dining tutorials. And she's brought along some of the people that have been impressed. And I'm saying that because she didn't know I did this. And this is really something. See, and we have an affiliation, with a college, USC. And here we go. We start talking to people, and people say, "Oh my God, I never knew she did this." And so here it is,
Yes. And it's
one thing after another. And I like to share that with people, because it's my turn to share now. We're giving back so much. But at the same time, you started saying, I'm trying to get acclimated with the digital transformation. And I have volunteers that have come my way, and I pay very close attention. I have one particular student who graduated, and we talked, and we were just, and I want to say this because you asked me if there's something I'd like to say. We have a special event coming up, and I'm going to be co-hosting this event with Joseph Masato, who just graduated from Cal State University of Dominguez Hills, okay? His background's finance and so forth. But beyond that, I mean, the students nowadays carry more than we ever could have. At least I'll speak for myself, being a mom, so now I'm a mompreneur. But the reason I'm bringing that is because I think that they need to have their talents exposed. And so I thought, who better than to bring that talent and help where I need the help? Because I'm not a social media expert by no way. I know where I'm the expert in and what I do, but I need to now change this whole dining room into what I used to do, lugging everything that I did to the classroom or to those auditoriums that spoke to 150 students at one time. You know what I'm saying? It's it's changing everything about what I do. And I have these students that I'm so thankful for, in particular, Joseph. So we're putting together a graduation ceremony. I already have the ad out there, but now the invitation's coming out. For the students that have taken my courses or no, including you, Dr. Betty, because I think I need to celebrate that. We have a minister from Africa, Reverend Dr. Peter. He just got a master's. We have somebody else from Bogota. A doctorate, excuse me. Yeah. So it's this audience I'm going to be talking to, because I just feel that it just reinforces what my mission and vision is. And to share it with those students that are willing to help because they know, always ask. I wouldn't ask because of my culture. It was just not a thing to do. But now that I've had 34-year career, I retired from the aerospace company, I'm in my own business. Yes, I need help. You bet I do. We don't do this alone, which is your line, right?
Thank you so much, Mina. I want to leave you with one story. When I first came from Colombia, my Aunt Ruby sat me at the dinner table and she said, I'm going to teach you etiquette because someday you're going to dine with the President of the United States. I can't tell you how those classes have given me the confidence. Once we know, then we can show up with confidence, and it's that confidence that's going to get someone to hire you, to invite you to their meetings. There was someone that, and we're going to talk about this in some of these, because so many things that we see as we begin to open up. There was someone that sat at my table one time that I bought, or that my company purchased, and they drank a little bit too much. And I was whispered in my ear, please don't invite that person again. So what do you drink when you go to events? As we begin to open up, we're going to be talking about all of these things. What does your space look like? There's somebody on Facebook that just said, Sophia, she redesigned her entire space to make sure that what you see is that the frame is exactly the frame that you want to see. When I look at your frame, it's beautiful. You have your book there, you have your plant, it's just gorgeous. And I look at, and you can do a preview of what your frame is going to look like. So show up 100%, give your very best, and then people will, it's so funny. How you look is more than 80% of what people listen. It's how you show up. So Mina, thank you so much. If you have any questions, if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you, Mina?
I'm going to suggest my business email, okay, which is info@etiquetteseminars.com. But I also have my walking bio, which is my LinkedIn, and that's where all the invitations and all my articles and things like that are posted. And I welcome that because LinkedIn and the email are the two busiest, connections that I have, if I may. And then the other thing, I want to really thank so many people out there that I said, we don't do this alone. There are people I've met through social media, people that I have met because I know them from the past, and they've come back and somehow or other, their world is now social as well. But my personal branding has taken a complete flip because of this COVID. But we were doing it pre-COVID. It just so happened that everything stopped, and then I went into production. And the people that I met because of networking, that's important too. This is why the company is taking the turn that it is, because I have an excellent personal branding photographer, videographer, and he's also listed in my LinkedIn, Renee Farias. And then I have several students, but in particular, I have Joseph Masato, who recently graduated, and we came up with an idea, and Lord and behold, we're going to have it happen. The other thing is, friends that I said, because they used to work with television networks, and they're saying, you consider doing this and consider doing that. So everybody has inputs. And if I show you, I have a litany, a laundry list of things that people have their own view of what could happen for you and be better. So pay attention, people, just listen Listen more than you speak.
Listen more than you speak. And with that, it's almost 12 o'clock. So our timing is impeccable, Mina, as usual. The next time I would like to talk about networking while on Zoom meetings.
Okay.
How do we network when you are attending a Zoom meeting? There is a way that you can find out who people are. There's a way that you can connect with individual people. There's a way that you can follow up. And so I want to talk a little bit about networking while you're in Zoom meeting. And then I want to go deeper into the fact that, and somebody said it, we are mothers, Paola said it, we are mothers, teachers, cooks. We even have more now being home than we did before, because before we could leave all of that behind and only focus on being at work and so forth. So 11:59, I'm going to leave you with that because it's going to be amazing. So look for Mina next week on Tuesday morning around the same time. It'll be either 10 or 11 o'clock Pacific.
Okay.
And please share, because we want everybody to know about Mina Martinez, our Chief Etiquette Officer and founder of Prestige Protocol. Mina, thank you so much for being with us. Love you dearly. And thank you all for being with us as well. If you have any questions, post them on Facebook and Mina will answer them.
I will.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
You
Bye
too.
now.
Bye now.